chances are you are that girl who's thinking about your business 24/7, how to expand your life, how to scale. And the more that you grow, the more that you get tested, and the more that you have those moments where you are thinking, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but am I? Because there's some people around you that are probably doing the exact opposite of what you are doing. And so today we are talking about the mental load of being a high achiever, why you're probably carrying way more than you need to, how to get back into that state where you are taking action from a place that actually compounds into your new reality, and how you'll stop getting constantly interrupted from all the actions that you're taking, from all that comparison and the noise, because it is time for your certainty to get cranked up to the max, your head clear, and your new reality coming in fast. What is up? Welcome back to the Power of Personal Branding and Manifestation podcast with your host. It is I, Malika, your girl to personal branding and manifestation. As a high achiever, you naturally tend to have 24 tabs open into your mind. You definitely are always thinking of what you can improve, what you can do, and actually taking action from a place that gets you to compound faster into your new reality is not something to take lightly. Okay, so go on your hot girl walk, go grab your matcha, go to your Pilates class, whatever it is that you're doing this morning or whenever you are listening to this. Let's unpack this freaking episode. Is going to be so juicy, and I feel like it's very much needed. Now, when it comes to truly getting back into that state where all the actions that you take truly gets to compound to the max, this is truly linked to never outsourcing your authority and really being able to stay in that high CO frequency, no matter the feedback that you are getting. Not attaching your worth to the feedback that you get, and actually just seeing it as what it is, which is data, which is a data point that will help you improve. And so, for example, let's say you're getting lower views, let's say you're getting less clicks, let's say you're getting, you're getting pushback from your clients, or you're not selling as much as you want. Then even though you care so deeply about your business, like, oh my God, of course, like all the girlies on here, we all do, okay? But the thing is, the minute that you stop attaching meaning to your result, like meaning about you, about how good you are, how worth it you are, then that is the minute that your action starts compounding way faster. That's immediately cutting out the resistance of, well, what can I do? How can I be better? You're skipping that mental load, and instead you're just focusing on what it's telling you, which is the data point. For me, this was something that was especially hard because I am someone who's super empathetic, who's super like, I'm a Pisces, I'm a real Pisces, okay? But it's truly start showing you and testing, how much you truly trust your inner knowing when there is pressure into the mix, right? And that, I think, is like the biggest skill to have. What happens when we're adding pressure to the mix? Your inner knowing will always say, I freaking know how good I am, how worth it I am. It's just about translating that and refining how I'm translating that, versus something that is not your inner knowing will sound more like urgency and more like, oh, if you don't do this, you will fail. If you don't fix this right now, everything will crumble and everything. That is not inner knowing. And the thing is, at any given point, literally at any point, okay, you get to prime yourself to be into your inner knowing even more, basically knowing that there will always be half of the people like naysayers and like half of the people being like yay sayers. Then like, what then is your decision, and what then do you feel like you want to implement? You're constantly being exposed to, like how other people run their business, the people that you follow, how other people scale, what they're prioritizing in their life sometimes even. For example, for me, I've had periods of my life where I wasn't really focused on my social life. And then I see other people and that seems like that's what they're prioritizing and everything. And I'm like, oh my God, am I doing this wrong? But then I have other periods of my life where like I am taking more time to enjoy my freedom and like really tailored my dream calendar and everything. There's other periods where I'm more locked in. Or it can even be that like you have other entrepreneur friends and maybe they are prioritizing different things in your business than you. But every single person that is around you that is doing this, you can obviously learn from them and grow and, take some knowledge in. But every single person is always operating with a different internal compass based on, what their build is and not yours. And I think like that is super important to remember. And a great internal compass that I love to look at is like, if I had to maintain this decision long term, like, does this make me feel aligned with my vision long term, or does it just feels like I'm trying to force something that I'm absorbing from someone else because I think that if I don't do it, that I'm not going to be as successful, I'm not going to scale as much, right? And so, for example, for me, it was ads, like people were always saying like ads, you need ads or whatever, or you can't, be traveling and doing this business and whatever. Or remember that time when they were saying on TikTok, oh my God, you need to post like 3 times a day in order to, like succeed and like have people like pay attention to you and get clients and everything. And now like people are taking that back and they're like, yeah, no, actually like it's quality over quantity, right? So if ever you get that feeling of you are doing something completely opposite as someone else, even if it's with your life, with your prioritizing, with your time, with what you're scaling your business, with how you are going about your day, is this my direction that I want to keep up with constantly? Or am I just doing this from urgency, right? For more of your internal leadership, for how you are leading yourself through expansion, through your new reality, through the new timeline that you want to be pouring in. As a high achiever, you always crave more. You crave better. You want more efficient system. You want to know everything. You want to be able to implement all of the shit and have the biggest impact with your business and always be refining something. Like, I think that is just the high achiever blueprint, honestly. And sometimes that really comes with being chronically always on, like you're actively having 48 tabs open into your mind. This is what starts slowing down your actions that could compound so much faster into that new reality, that new timeline, those results. And I want to share with you exactly what you can do to start removing that stagnation energy. First thing I have to say has to be reducing decision fatigue. The better that you can get at really planning out your tabs and when you are going to close those tabs open into your mind, and also the time that you're allowing for those tabs to be open, then the easier it's going to be to actually focus on the shit that actually matters. If you always have 48 tabs open because oh my God, like I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that, right? Then you're never actually focused onto the task that you're doing in the moment. And so that again creates that stagnation energy that you want to be removing. And I think the biggest thing that truly starts freeing up your mental load is knowing that you are literally allowed to have shit that you ignore. Like, have shit that doesn't really matter, that like you could do, but maybe it's not actually the biggest return on investment of your focus right now. And you could literally be like, this is the shit that can wait. This is the shit that actually doesn't matter that much. And this is the shit that like I can just kind of not think about. Becoming selective with your mental space so that not everything gets access to your attention anymore is actually how you start leading yourself into a new reality, into actions that actually compounds way more and way bigger. Our attention is like so sacred. Like, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, like you can only hold so much at the same time in your mind. Okay. And learning how to be selective will give you back so much energy and so much space into your mind that you can then use to make shit work faster for you and actually pour into your biggest timeline yet. And when you actually start leading yourself from that place of actually being discerning of like the attention and what you are giving your attention to the most, your entire reality starts to feel so much different. Not because everything changes like instantly like that, But because how you are moving through your day, through your life, feels different. And again, it's like you're removing that like stagnation energy. You're removing all of these things that are like draining you up in your mind, in your energy. And this is not the first time that I say this, but every single level of expansion in your life, in money, your clientele, your reality, your friendship, relationship, your life, okay, requires a new level of self-leadership and energy that is under that action that you are taking. It requires you to kind of like make those decisions before you have certainty. And I find that the more that you grow, the more that the gap with the amount of certainty that you get, sometimes it can get bigger because you are in a different territory that like you've never been in before, right? So if you've already done something before, you're going to know exactly how to keep redoing it. But if you are going onto a new level now that like is different, it actually requires you to trust even more and have more of that inner certainty. The way that I like to think of this is kind of like crossing a very narrow branch that is over a river, right? So you might have crossed the branch before and it didn't move, right? But you didn't cross the branch because you trusted the branch. You crossed it because you trusted yourself, right? And then if you cross that same branch again and again, you might not do it the same way because of how fucking narrow it is, or how much like maybe you are trying to get on another direction. Sometimes when you are too close, you have your nose too up close into everything that you are doing, you're literally missing out on all of the feedback and all of the data points and all of the like stuff that is literally opportunities and stuff that is literally staring at you in the face, right? Sometimes you're so focused on where you are going that you literally forget that the person who gets you to that new level, who gets you to that new reality, is the you of today, not the you of that next level. I hope this makes sense. So like the you of today is the you that gets you into that new timeline, into that new sense of certainty and trust, not the you of that next level. That's not only how you get to tap into your highest timeline, but it's also how you finally get to show up in a way that you feel proud of yourself every single day, okay? Because as a high achiever, like you expect always more. You're always refining something. You're always doing the most and everything. But sometimes like I think it's so important to remember that like the you of today is the you that's getting you to that next level, right? That is how you actually start operating from a fulfilling place. And the more that, again, this is infusing that energy that is completely opposite to the stagnation, right? To having your nose too up close into your shit. Because now you're operating from that fulfillment place, from that place of satisfaction within yourself, within your energy. Then you start inherently feeling more fulfilled every single time that you are showing up and feeling more proud of yourself for everything that you are doing because you expect so much of yourself. And inevitably, like you are clearing out again that like stagnation energy because now you're tapping into such a different energy that has so much more magnetism and so much more power behind it. That new reality, that new timeline, it's not asking for you to have more effort. It's actually asking for more certainty, more presence into the business and the life that you are already building. Having less comparison, having less second guessing, having less changing direction because you see the shiny object, right? Less consuming, less overthinking, and really having that energy compound itself back to you so that you take that and put it into the right action that compounds, right? The real flex is truly being able to be so much more discerning with your attention, so much more discerning where you are leading yourself towards exactly what you want. Because I'm telling you, the version of you who is living in that new timeline that feels fulfilling, who is getting those results, who hasn't have all of these tabs open, okay? She is not going at it from, let me think about 40 different directions and have everything perfect. No, she is thinking, what actually gets me to tap into my high CO frequency so that my attention is actually going to the right places and my action compounds the shit out of everything that I'm doing. I hope you absolutely love this episode. If you know someone who did it to her, and I will meet you back here next week. And as always, stay freaking amazing, okay? Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.